Hello and thanks for joining us. Holly Shields here for Kalkine TV, welcoming you all to Executive Corner Expert Talks, the show where we bring you industry leaders, successful business owners and market experts all under one roof to help you discover the latest economic insights. On today's show, we're joined by Peter Gwynne, founder and managing director of Hallmark Business Sales, a leading firm supplying profitable, professional and personal business brokering services. Welcome to the show, Peter. It's a pleasure e-meeting with you.
Good morning, Holly. It is a pleasure to be with you too.
Great to have you on. So to kick things off, Hallmark has experience in buying and selling businesses for over 25 years in Australia. What would you say has been the key strategy you've implemented over the years for your business's success?
There are a number of key strategies, Holly. The first one is getting appointed because that's very key to our income. So we look to be exclusive in our appointments, and our reputation and our professionalism and our personal nature gets us a lot of the way there. So the other key points are getting the valuation right. It's very important that our valuation is where the money is in terms of the value of the business, because there's nothing worse than having to go through the process of saying to an owner, "Hey, I got it wrong." It'd be embarrassing. We're going to have to adjust the price. So it's very important to get the price right. Presentation of the business is critical. We do an information memorandum, which is quite detailed, professional, and presents the business in the best possible light. Confidentiality is very important to business owners, because they don't really want their staff knowing, they don't really want creditors or suppliers knowing, or their customers knowing. So we mainly deal in a situation where nobody knows who the business is. We get non-disclosure agreements signed. We often talk to the buyers before they get the information, and sometimes we even get the name cleared by contact to the owner. Another key aspect of selling businesses on behalf of people is understanding the business. So we go and have a good look at it, understand the industry, understand the financials, and be able to talk to interested parties in a fairly educated way. We never put pressure on people. We do want to talk to the buyers when they've received the information, and we want to get their questions and their feedbacks, and we want to share that with the owners, because communication is very important in the process, because the owners are selling something that they've had forever and a day. And they can become quite stressed about it, so we try and keep that to a minimum by giving them feedback. When the business goes to contract, it's just not the end of the story there, because there's all sorts of conditions in a contract, like due diligence, lease arrangements, staffing, and quite a long list. So our work really starts from there and making sure the process gets to completion, because if it doesn't, a lot of effort's gone in for no result. So that's a key structure that we had. We always follow the same process, and not one step's missed, because if you do, you're going to trip up.
Right, and it's obviously been very successful for you, 25 years in the business.
Yes, I had 20 years in banking before that though, and 25 in this business, and I really enjoy it. To be honest, it's no one day is ever the same, because I'm dealing with people in business, professional people, learning something all the time. You can be in one business and you're stuck in one place, but here I am seeing so many interesting people with interesting businesses.
Right. And well, now you mentioned that Hallmark offers business valuations. In your opinion, how can business owners determine the true worth of their business?
Well, how we get to a value of a business is we rely heavily on past sales, so past data. So we've been keeping past data on the sale of businesses now for 25 years. So you'll find in disputed cases where someone's in court for a valuation, the valuer that's got the past sales data in their document compared to someone that's got just some information on, out of a textbook on the value, will win the heart of the judge, and they'll rule in the favour of the person with the sales data. So we use sales data to create a value. So it's very difficult for someone that's in business to try and work out what their business is worth without talking to someone that's in the industry, a broker that can provide the sales data on what that business might be worth.
Right, so there's no secret formula then, it's all backed by data.
Well, there'll be industries that have a formula, like, I guess the multiple between most industrial-based businesses will be somewhere between 3 and 5, depending on what I say, 3 and 5 times EBITDA, which is their earnings before interest, tax and depreciation. So it'll fall somewhere in that price range. And what they say about a multiple of 3 to 5, it's a return on investment calculation, which is you've got to take into account the working capital, you've got to take into account the stock levels, the plant and equipment, and then there's a goodwill factor. So all of those things have to come up to a return of at least 30% on the investment the person's making. That's the minimum.
Okay, right. So there's a lot to consider there.
It's a lot to consider, yeah. It's not, no one business is the same either, because, it might be a concentration of customers, it could be some new competitor come up in the market recently. So you've got to look and see what's going on, and then factor in some risk numbers for that.
Definitely, actually. And speaking of competitors, what would you say makes Hallmark Business Sales distinctive from other market players?
Well, we're very specific about what we handle. So, we don't take on every business. It's got to be a business that we think we can sell within a reasonable time frame. If it's not, we'll then try and help the person find the right person to sell that business. We, I think, understand the process very well. We're a boutique agency, so we don't have a lot of listings at any one time. There's some agencies out there that have 400 and 500 listings. Well, there's just no way you can service that in any reasonable way, So we tend to do a small number of large transactions every year. My background, as I said, was finance. I'm an accounting background, and also I did sales for many years. Even in banking, I was in charge of their getting their new customers. So a combination of finance, accounting and sales is perfect for this industry.
So I was just saying that it seems to be the case that with a smaller rather than larger number of clientele, you're more able to focus and tailor your services.
Yes, absolutely. And it's all about the service, because one of the complaints, I guess, that some people in selling their business say, or often say about the people that are looking after them, is they don't get any feedback. So the reason they don't get any feedback is if you're running too hard, you're not going to be able to look after the buyer and the seller and get them both together without, one feeling left out. So I think, it's a business that needs to be, you need to look after the people that you're working for.
Definitely. I think no one would like to feel like a number.
No, that's true, because it's their work. It's their life work. So, they've built something from scratch. They've worked very hard to get to where they are, and they're passing on something that they put a lot of time and effort into, and they deserve to have someone represent them that really sees what they've achieved and gets the best possible price for them.
Absolutely. And how about any near-term goals for Hallmark? Is there anything on the horizon?
Yeah, look, we've got a few things on the go. We've got a website called businesssales.com.au. We've had it since almost when the internet came in. We're not doing it full justice, so we're looking to pass that on to somebody that can use it to the best advantage, like a media group. We're also moving our market to sort of mid-market range, which is 3 to 30 million. And in doing that, we've got a strategic alliance happening. We're talking with them now, with Australia's largest privately owned non-accounting M&A group, which would give us some more support and expertise to be able to execute very well in that mid-market area. And the final thing, of course, is we want to try and balance life, work and family.
Right, so it seems like big things are happening.
Yes, yeah, we've progressively over many years been slowly creeping up. We started out with very small businesses and now we do quite large businesses. So, and there's a lot of something to be said about smaller number of large transactions.
Definitely, and that is great to hear. Definitely something for our viewers to keep an eye out on. Well, on that note, it is just about time to wrap up, but I must say your insights have been invaluable. Thanks so much for joining us today, Peter.
Thank you, Holly. I appreciate the time and thank you for having me on.
And thanks to our viewers. Stay tuned for more live market updates. And as we say here, stay apprised and invest wise with Kalkine.